Hi, it's Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. Today I want to share with you the books that I want to read before the end of the year, so this is my November and December TBR. It's getting towards the end of the year now and I am really wanting to read some Christmassy books, so we are going to see quite a few of those on my list. And I know it's probably a bit soon and I might get burnt out by it, but I'm going to add some other ones in there as well. I'm currently reading Forks by Nadine Brandes. This I think is going to be our book club pick for those of us who are in our booktubers book club. But everyone else is welcome to join in as well if you want to join in and read this with us. Guy Fawkes Day, Guy Fawkes Night, Bonfire Night, Fireworks Night, whichever you want to call it, is on November 5th. So this is going to be appropriate for November. I think it is a sort of historical fiction / fantasy book. I'm interested to see how they're going to take the story of Guy Fawkes, because I think this follows his son Thomas. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that one. It's a really famous story in the UK because we celebrate it every year and we are taught it at primary school. The actual historical events are a little bit more complicated and nuanced, but the one that we're taught is that Guy Fawkes was a terrorist who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and they stopped him in mid-action with all the gunpowder under the Houses of Parliament, and he was executed by being burnt at a stake, and which is why we have bonfires and people make effigies of Guy Fawkes and throw them on the bonfire, which is pretty gruesome. So that's coming up. I love fireworks. I will be watching them out of the window if possible. And I'm really interested to see how this one is going to fit into that story, or if it just takes it in a totally different direction. I have also just started reading the first volume of Keeping Christmas, which is like a compilation of different novellas. I think some of them are Christian, they might all be Christian, some of them might be clean fiction. Different genres, but they are to do with Christmas and they're also to do with castles. And it was pretty cheap when I bought it. It's just an ebook collection of novellas. By Turner Havig, Kathy Swanson, Olivia Talbot, Kathleen J. Robinson, Denise L. Barella, Marguerite Martin Gray and Naomi Craig. And I know Naomi Craig is a biblical fiction writer, so that's that one. And Turner Havig, I think I've read some before from her, and she writes contemporary romance. I think there's also some historical and some speculative fiction in there as well. So I'm really interested. I love these collections. They give you a chance to read by authors who you would have read before, and I think they might be all indie writers, independently published. So there's that collection. There's also the second one, which is by Turner Havig, Tabitha Bolden, Susan K. Beattie, Jennifer Signs, Melissa Wardwell and Stacey T. Simmons. Apologies if I've pronounced any of those names wrong, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, so I think 5 or 6 books in each, novellas in each one, and the first one is the equivalent of 600 and something pages. So there's quite a lot of reading matter in there, and yeah, I am ready for some cozy Christmas reads, or at least cozy weather, wintry reads. It's getting a lot darker here now, and I think the clock's about to go back when I'm filming this, so the sunset I reckon will be around 5 o'clock, something like that. It'll be pretty early anyway, so I'm ready for some sort of cozy reading. I'm also ready for some red book covers. I'm just really in the mood for that at the moment. So I have got also on my TBR On the Way to Christmas, which is another novella collection I think, and it is by Sheila Roberts, Melissa Ferguson and Amy Clipston, who I think it's going to be a clean romance novellas rather than Christian, but it might be. There may be some faith in there. But the cover looks really really Christmassy and really cozy and warm. And then I've got a couple of books that I actually have in physical copies. So I've got The White Christmas Inn by Colleen Wright, which is a book I think that Ashina really liked this one. And again, I don't know if it's clean fiction or Christian fiction, but I think it's contemporary romance. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm going on the fact that it was kind of recommended and also the cover. Very, very Christmassy read, and I'm ready for that one. Probably will read this one in December rather than November. And then I've also got Once Upon a Dickens Christmas by Michelle Greep, which is 3 of her stories that are set in sort of, I think, the Victorian times, like Dickens. They're like Dickens retellings, Dickens inspired ones. I've read the first one, which was 12 Days at Bleakley Manor, which I really enjoyed. Didn't have a huge amount of Christian content in that one, but it is listed on the back as Christian fiction romance, and it's historical. And there's like a mystery element in that first one, there was anyway. This book is like one of those, I don't know if I can show you. It's quite difficult to show. I don't know if you can see that, but the edges of the pages are all like they've been ripped, or like a really old book. It's probably too whited out to see the edge of a page, but it's like, anyway, it's all like it's been like ripped pages on the edges, which is really interesting. I don't know what it will feel like to be like reading that one with. It's going to feel differently. Then if I get really bored and burnt out from Christmas ones, I've got a couple of other books on my radar which I may read in November and December, or I may leave it till January. So I've got To Win a Prince by Toni Shiloh, which is the sequel to her In Search for Prince, I think that was what it's called, which I enjoyed. I read earlier in the year. This is the side character from that one, and she has a really great faith in that first book, so I'm expecting there to be a really good faith content to this book and it to be quite sassy and fun. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out, because he was in the first book as well, but I won't tell you anything about that because it would spoil the first book. So I guess you should really read the first book first. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Totally different sort of vibe. It's more of a summer vibe to Christmas. And then also I've been looking at recently Dream of Kings by Sharon Hink, which is a fantasy, supposedly Christian fantasy book, published by Enclave, and this looks really interesting to me. I don't know why it's given me like this sort of vibes of Joseph from Genesis story. It's a fantasy, it's in a secondary world, and there's like the ability to dream things, I think. So yeah, I'm really interested in getting that one. It also is available in an audiobook, which Sharon Hink's books, I haven't managed to get hold of her previous series in an audiobook yet. So I'm hoping they might bring them out sometime. But yeah, I'm interested to see that, so I might pick that up at some point. So let me know in the comments what you are planning to read in the next month or two. If there's any books that you really need to read before the end of the year, let me know. And I hope you're having a really great reading week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. God bless.